topic for today is GTM engineering, the market realities and opportunities. And this is mostly a call, a session for people who have questions regarding what GTM engineering is, basically what are the origins of this, what is the scope, who is a good GTM engineer, who isn't, who gets paid more, who doesn't. Of course, we can't answer everything within like 15, 20 minutes because we have a Q&A session at the end as well, and we've already run out of 3 or 4 minutes. So I'll try to cover as much as possible without, belaboring any single point. Right, so yeah, let's go to the first slide, why you should listen. I've booked meetings with all of these companies and more. Actually, I didn't have space for more logos. And I've placed candidates in a lot of these companies as well. Sometimes I booked meetings with them for my clients, sometimes for myself when I was placing, reaching out to these companies for openings they had for my clients, who are mostly in the tech space, for my career coaching gigs. So yeah, that's why I think you should listen to me. Okay, so let's go to the first slide. So this title, GTM engineer, right? This title is new, but sorry, someone has raised their hand. Yes, it is being recorded by my Fathom note taker. I will edit it a bit and then share it with Neil, who will then upload it to maybe his channel or to a drive and share it with you guys. Yes. So the title is new, but the job actually isn't. There were companies like Ramp and Stripe, mostly the tech companies and very large enterprises, which had people doing this same job, similar job, under the title of growth engineer or, technical RevOps or even RevOps, right? So what happened was there was a market shift where the tooling and the software is required to do this growth engineering and RevOps stuff. It became so accessible and so cheap that, salespeople, outbound operators, people close to RevOps that were working with RevOps started going into these more technical roles where you have APIs and webhooks and you need to do, attribution and all of this stuff, right? CRM attribution, you need to maintain a clean CRM for the entire company. All of this stuff started happening when the tooling and everything became very, very cheap, right? Everyone started to learn these things and they started to go into the RevOps space. And the market just gave the role a new name. Clay and some of his people started calling these people GTM engineers, and the name stuck, and that's what happened. So this is an older role. It just became more accessible to more people, and then these new people that entered this role started getting called GTM engineers. So now most GTM engineers are scoped too narrowly, and what that means is most of us GTM engineers, we are hired only for top of funnel outbound. What top of funnel outbound means is like super cold outbound, cold emails, cold outreach, right? We are not owning the layer that comes after that or before that. Most of us have some part before that where we do ICP research, list building and stuff like that. But we don't do demand generation, something called demand generation, right? Where we are looking at how to bring leads inbound. Right, that's also becoming a part slowly of GTM engineering, but most people who are beginners at GTM engineering are only doing cold outreach, right? So what is happening now, there is a market shift happening where the role is moving towards owning the full revenue data layer, right? So that includes CRM logic, segmentation, routing leads appropriately to the right salesperson, choosing when to route it to a salesperson versus routing it to, let's say, an inbox manager, training the inbox manager, how to respond, all of these things which, someone with proper business acumen, which I was discussing yesterday, right? Proper business acumen and the understanding of the whole sales funnel from top to bottom, they would be taking care of these things, right? And the more of this funnel the more you will be paid, the more valuable you are to the company's sales and infrastructure. Otherwise, you can just be replaced with someone else who is building the sequences. So that goes, that's a good segue to our third point, which is there are 2 types of GTM engineers. And you need to know which one you're building towards, right? So someone who runs sequences and someone who builds the system that makes the sequences work. These are two different types of GTM engineers, right? The first one will get replaced. The first one will just get replaced. It's very easy to replace the first one because they're just building sequences and stuff, and that's it. They don't know, what's the thought process, the strategy, the research behind that, the business part before that, right? But the second one is extremely valuable, and these are the people who can charge a lot of money, who can ask for higher retainers or higher salaries if it's a full-time job, right? Because the company starts to depend on them fully, right? Because they're owning a very significant part of the sales funnel rather than just the top layers. And so outbound instinct is what makes the technical work useful. So what this means is just because you know a few tools like Clay, Apollo, maybe some other tools like N8 and Make, that doesn't make you a good GTM engineer. What makes you a good GTM engineer is you knowing when to use what and when not to use any of those tools, right? Because you don't always need to use these tools to get results. But you need to understand that, okay, if I use this tool, it costs, let's say, $300 a month. Am I saving $300 by spending those $300? If it's at least a break even, then it makes sense to use the tool. If not, you can just build your revenue infrastructure without that tool, right? If it's saving more than 300, of course, then it's a no-brainer. You need to use that tool to save more than 300, especially if you're doing large-scale personalizations, large-scale enrichments, large-scale CRM cleaning for all of these things. And that's where Clay comes into the picture. It allows you to save more money than you're spending. And that's why the smaller agencies that don't have a lot of clients, don't have very large retainers, find it very difficult to have a Clay subscription of their own. And that's why you see them doing group buys and stuff like that, right? So this is basically visual representation of what I just explained, right? This is a dart board, and the center, at the center, like 100 points. If you own the full revenue data layer, you earn the most points, right? Okay, cool. So so what is the reality of the market and what are the opportunities? The market is growing fast, but the bar is rising just as fast. So job postings for GTM engineers and RevOps people, basically these are if you have a Venn diagram, VENN Venn diagram, most of these of the responsibilities of both of these roles overlap a lot. But then there's that little part in the middle that does not have an overlap, okay, or rather on the sides that does not have an overlap. And that's why there are two different job titles, but otherwise they're very similar. So the job postings for these has doubled in the last 6 months, but the average GTM engineer now brings around 4 years of experience. But someone with no outbound or any operational background who calls themselves a GTM engineer is competing with people who have been building for years. Like for example, me, I have almost 5 years of experience, right? And that's why I'm seen as someone with some sort of experience, some sort of authority, right? When I'm in between people who are more beginners, right? And that's because I bring that experience. And so now people that are beginners are competing with someone like me who can run an agency, a one-man agency, right? From start to finish. I can get clients, I can onboard, offboard, do customer success, do the fulfillment, operations, everything. Do the contracts, run the commercial side, the accounting, everything. I can do everything on my own. That's because of the 5 years of experience I have. And so now beginners are competing with people like me, or actually people better than me. I'm still average or above average. There are a lot of people that are better than me, right? So that's a market reality, right? The market is growing fast, but the beginners are being left behind very quickly, unless they catch up with their portfolio and their work experience. And also the gap between what people claim and what they can demonstrate is very wide. So what this means is, see, most profiles, they list tools because they say, I know tool X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, right? But most of these profiles, they don't, or these portfolios, they don't show systems. They don't show campaign breakdowns. What worked, what didn't work, how they overcame a challenge, and what was the result after that, how they handled the failure, how they handled a resounding success, how did they make the most of a resounding success. Or they don't show outcomes, they don't show numbers, they don't show metrics. They show tools, they show systems, they show fancy workflows, but they're not explaining it in a way that's meaningful to someone who wants to actually implement that in their company, right, or in their agency. So operators who actually document their work properly and document their case studies, their wins properly and on time, because you will forget a lot of stuff you do, right? Over a year, over 2 years, you'll forget most of the stuff, and very key moments will remain in your head. But a lot of the stuff you forgot is actually pretty important, and you should have noted it down. So someone who notes it down and remembers it and then builds case studies and actually uses that information for their portfolio, for their website, whatever they're building, these people will stand out, right? The fractional agency opportunity is still wide open. So this is wide open because SMBs still exist, micro businesses still exist, right? 1 to 10 employees, 20 to 100, 20 to 50 employees. These companies still exist, and they still need to hire lead gen agencies or people who can do lead gen for them, because they cannot afford a 120K hire, right? 120K USD hire, it's not possible for them. So the market is still wide open for GTM engineers. So it's not like everything is lost. No, it's not like that. There's still a lot of opportunity. All you need to do is present yourself in a way that makes you look valuable, right? That's it. And yeah, so quantified outcomes, beat tool lists every time. That's what I said just now. Just saying I know Clay, I know N8N, it doesn't make a difference. Everyone knows Clay, everyone knows N8N. What have you done with it? And how much of it have you documented? How much of it is valuable? That's what makes the difference, right? So here's another graphic. Skill development, experience, market adaptation, and then when you show revenue impact, you become a high earning GTM engineer, right? Okay, so yeah, so what's the learning part and what's the execution mindset? So the problem you're solving should be the curriculum and not the tool, right? So if you're watching videos about APIs, webhooks, and all this other technical stuff, but you don't have a real use case in front of you, then you will be slow, and you'll not learn what matters, and you'll not learn how to skip what doesn't matter. Okay, so the main issue with most GTM engineers is they learn tools and they think, okay, now I'm a GTM engineer. No, that's not how it is. You need to know what the use cases are before you learn the tool, and then you learn the tool within the framework of those use cases, right? And salespeople don't need to code, they need to describe problems precisely. So now see, all of my code that I use for Claude, any of my scripts, sites, whatever I'm building, everything that requires any type of code, it all comes from Claude or Gemini. I don't use ChatGPT much because not a good experience. So I use Claude or Gemini for all of my code, and it works. Stuff works, right? That's just because I'm describing my problems extremely precisely. Okay, so the actual skill is knowing what to build. Okay, and writing a clear enough brief so that an AI, or if you've been provided a developer or a software engineer, then you're very blessed. And if you have, some resource, you'll be able to describe to them the exact thing that you want and what you do not want, right? And so you'll be able to recognize when the output is wrong, only if you know how, to actually describe the problem precisely and understand the problem, right? So you need product thinking rather than a software engineering mind. Okay, and if you have SDR experience previously, then your learning path is shorter than you think. So that's because you already know what a good lead looks like, what reply rate should be usually, and all of this, of course, you will get free courses and stuff, and you can ask anyone in any of the communities or groups that you're in, and they'll share this with you freely. And you also understand what a sequence needs to do, right? So then the work that's left is just expressing that knowledge in systems instead of doing it manually every time. right? That's what these tools help us to do. They help us to build systems so that we can automate most of it and do the work that actually requires lots of intelligence, like research, copywriting, strategizing, right? We can use our mental capacity for that rather than, copy pasting, copy and sending sequences one by one, right? That's why we automate all of that other stuff, right? And how do you build? So you build one proper thing, document it, then move to the next thing. Don't build 10 different things and try to solve a problem that exists. Try to solve a problem that is valuable enough to solve. For example, the job board that I built, it's valuable enough. I have around 200 people visiting it every day, right? And I built it like 3-4 days ago. So it's useful. So that's why people are actually visiting it, scrolling through it and stuff, right? So it's now a valuable asset to me as well. So if once I have 500, 600 people on that board, I can probably pitch a company, hey, we have 500 GTM engineers on this board every week. Would you like to put your tool on there, advertise it, right? I don't have that in mind yet, but that's something you can do, right? So that's a real problem that's being solved. And again, real world building teaches you more of 1 week teaches you more than a month of tutorials, and just watching tutorials teaches less than a week of building, right? Yeah, so there are some common mistakes that most GTM operators make. Okay, you are automating a process that is broken, right? You're not fixing the strategy behind it. If your ICP is wrong, your messaging isn't landing, then automating the outreach, it just means that you're sending the wrong message to the wrong people faster and with less effort, and you're burning cash because all of these outreach platforms, they require credits, they require subscriptions, right? So the system has to be built on something that is working via a manual process first. Manually, it should work, and then you automate the manual process. So also adding tools when the actual problem is strategy. So when you hit a wall with strategy, you don't add a tool in there to fix the strategy, right? So there's the statistic that the average B2B company has 17 sales and marketing tools, but fewer than like 30% are integrated with each other, right? So most of these tools are basically doing stuff, but again, they require manually integrating those with each other. So it's just adding more tools to a disconnected stack will not solve the strategy that's broken. Okay, now building a portfolio that only lists logos instead of showing thinking, right? I explained this earlier, right? Just listing logos, listing tools doesn't show how you help them, doesn't show what challenges you overcame, doesn't show what you actually did, doesn't show your thinking, right? You need to show campaign dashboards, you need to show strategy documentation, and walk through how you would do stuff differently if you had the chance. Stuff like that is what makes you valuable, makes you look valuable at least, and shows that you actually have skill. Yes, Darsh, I'll take questions at the end. Just give me maybe like 2-3 more minutes, right? I'll try to finish it quickly. I know it's taking a little long. Okay? Apologies for that. Yeah, so building a portfolio in this logos instead of showing thinking. Yeah, I just explained that. I'll go a little faster now because we have just 8 minutes. Applying for roles where the skill gap is too large to bridge quickly. So if you're seeing a role where they require Python, N8N, HubSpot, MCPs, and then you feel like this is insane, I'll never be able to apply for any job. No, there are other jobs. Don't apply to jobs where the targeting, where the requirement is so crazy that you feel like whatever I target is just not working. GTM is not for me, right? Go-to-market engineering is just not for me. No, there are roles where you will see, okay, there's just one extra tool here. There's just 2 extra things here that I can learn in a week or 2, right? Do that. Apply for the job because, it takes 2-3 weeks, sometimes a month for you to actually land the job. There is going to be multiple rounds of interviews and stuff like that. There's probably going to be a test or an assessment. All of that is going to take time, and it's going to give you time to learn the tool, right? So if it's 2 things, 3 things, and they're easy, they're related to the stuff you've already done, then feel free to apply, because then you can start learning as soon as you've applied, right? And then you understand, okay, if I learn these 2 or 3 things, I can now apply to 10 more jobs, right? That makes you more valuable and more, ready for the job market. Yeah, and this is another just a visual explanation of what I just said. And this is the last slide. Yes. Yeah. So how do you think long term in this space? See, for the individual, GTM engineering is 4 to 6 years behind where DevOps is now. So see, DevOps is the role which also came about just the way GTM engineering came about. Okay, so DevOps, it started with system administrators, and these people are doing infrastructure work, right, with servers and stuff, and they had no formal career track, just like how GTM engineering is right now. Then it took a few years, like 4 to 6 years, and then it formalized into a discipline where there are now clear seniority levels. There are actual proper job titles fixed for those seniority levels, and different types of architect roles. So there's solutions architect, this architect, that architect. There's a lot of proper job titles now. So that's what is going to happen with GTM. Okay. And then for the individual, every piece of public work compounds over time. So each case study, each workflow breakdown, any honest explanation of what broke, that keeps generating inbound. So you need to post these things online so people know you exist, right? So people know that you have this knowledge, that you're open to share, that you have some sort of leverage in the industry, that you probably can solve some problem that they have related to GTME, revenue generations. You can fix their revenue infrastructure in some way or the other, right? So you need to show people, because there are 1,000 people doing that. You need to be there as well. Okay. For the operator, agency owner, infrastructure is durably valuable. Campaigns are not. So you need to think of it in this way. Okay. You don't just run sequences and charge a monthly retainer. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to own their infrastructure layer. Don't just give it to them. Of course, there are one-time builds and stuff that people do for a very large amount, but they don't get a lot of clients, right? If you're charging a retainer, hold on to all of the IP, intellectual property, what you're doing, all of this stuff. But of course, you'll have to share copy and stuff like that, right? Because you need to give them context if someone is interested and someone shows interest in whatever copy that you're sending for them. So keep all the intellectual property with yourself, and that makes you valuable to the client, right? So they won't churn that easily, right? Infrastructure is valuable. Campaigns are not that valuable. That's what I mean there. For the operator, agency owner, what you're known for building matters more than what you've run. So when you document repeatable systems, you publish your methodology, you build your intellectual property. Eric Noslowski is a good example of this, right? He has become someone who is an authoritative figure in the GTM space because he publishes everything that he does. He explains, he creates videos on everything that he does. And now people think, okay, if he's doing it, then it should be good, right? And so people or companies that have these problems also start thinking the same way. Hey, if Eric is doing it, it should be good. And he should have probably solved these problems, right? He can probably solve the problem we have as well. So you need to keep publishing stuff, in short, right? And that's it. It's also a visual representation of what I just explained for easier understanding. And that's it. I am open to taking any questions. Dash, you had a question, if I remember correctly. Yes.
Yes. Hello, Adnan. So I have one story to tell. Then I have a question. I recently got an offer as a GTM engineer in a company. So there was a job on LinkedIn. It was around 200 applicants on that job, और senior applicants वहाँ पे थे, plus और portals पे भी उन्होंने वो job डाल रखा था, तो काफी सारे applicants.
Just sorry for interrupting you. There's some people here who might not understand Hindi, so let's try to keep it to English. Yeah. because there might be
Okay.
non-Indians and non-Hindi speakers here. Yeah.
Okay, okay, definitely. So there were other people too in the other job boards where they have posted. So there were around like 500 applicants, which had far more experience than me, but still they chose me. And the reason is, when I initially applied for that, they asked me for a meeting, and then they went silent for like 1 to 2 weeks. So I thought that they were getting cold, so I created a document on docs, which included all the problems that I have solved and the solutions and the result. So one of them was, for example, that there was a client for me that worked with me in the US in industrial automation. So the problem was they have a very vague ICP. The buyers were very scarce, and their value proposition was not clear. The solution was that we scraped things from job boards, we scraped companies from different websites, and we used Python scraping. We didn't use Clay, and we used Cloud Code, and the result was we booked 13 meetings in the 60 days. So that's what like they liked it, and they booked a meeting this Tuesday, and like they were like, we want to move forward. Uh, so this is a thing. If we show the results, we can bypass many senior applicants. The second question I want to ask is, my concern was around differentiation. So last week I had a like prospect. I booked a meeting. He was from India in the finance space. So he was inspired by like we have Cloud Code, we have OpenClaw. He wanted to integrate it in its sales process. So like I didn't have like a really good expertise in like in OpenClaw and etc. So I like pitched him Clay. Like he didn't know about Clay, so I told him we can scrape and enrich data using Clay, and then we can set up an outreach campaign for you, and that will book you meetings. So after few days, he messaged me like, my SDR has learned enough Clay, and now like we don't need you now. So my question is around differentiation. Like, what should we actually offer? Because list building and this outreach stuff, this is highly commoditized. If we are experienced in GTM engineering, how do we differentiate? Like, I had like, should we offer Salesforce automation? Should we like, what should be a differentiation angle if we move forward with this GTM engineering? Because there will be a lot of competition, right? So that's my
Correct.
question. Thank you.
Correct. Correct. Okay. Does anyone have a similar question related to this? I see one or two hands raised. Fahad. I'll get back to your question, Dash. Just want to know one more other question. Yes, Fahad, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Assalamualaikum. Hello, Nanbhai. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So,
So Nanbhai, my question is basically, in the past, I have cracked some job interviews, and the main what I can say the rejection or was not landing the job was that I don't have the experience of running the outbound campaigns. I show my since it was a kind of a not very junior position, but yeah, the applicant must be uh, know the skills that how to do all the stuff. So I was like that definitely there are a lot of things right going on right now, and if I don't know anything, that it's on to me that I'll make sure that you won't face any kind of challenge in future. I just you just need to walk through us in the initial week, and definitely once the thing gets settled, I won't be needing your help. So they were good. They were good. Okay with it. But the running the outbound campaign was a main challenge, and since you haven't generated any kind of result in the outbound, so that can be a challenge, and we need more experienced candidate in this part. So how to tackle this challenge? Second thing, you talk about LinkedIn presence. So when you are posting on LinkedIn, So what kind of content you should focus, or what should be your thought process while recording the Loom video also? Because ultimately the recruiter or the agency owner, the hiring person does not have time to look all of your stuff, what you are building. So what you need to
Right.
focus, and what must be the duration for this while recording the Loom video, the mindset behind it.
Okay. Okay. Good questions. I think that's three questions. Darsh's question was, how do you differentiate? I think that was mainly his question. Fahad also had a similar question, like, how do you stand out in social media? How do you actually post? And the other question was, yeah, how do you overcome the lack of experience in actually running outbound campaigns? So with Dash, if you want to differentiate yourself, see in that pitch that you described to me, the main mistake you made was you offered them a tool as a replacement for a tool. So then they learned the tool. They don't need you anymore, right? So uh, you don't fix a broken process with Claude and OpenClaw or Clay, right? Just like I explained in the session. You need to have an expert there who knows what the problem is and can solve it using whichever tool is provided to him or whichever tool he's allowed to use. So you always pitch yourself when they say, hey, let's use tool X and Y. You tell them, hey, the tools are not going to solve the problem. You need someone who knows what to do with the tools. Because you can go now and in 2 minutes get a subscription to those two tools. And how many hours are you going to spend learning it? And not just learning it, learning how to use it well, right? I've already done all of that. I know how to do this, right? And when it comes to Fahad's question about not knowing how to, not having the experience rather of running actual campaigns. See, experience you only gain by doing something, right? That's why it's called experience. So you need to do it. Do it at a small scale, do it at a large scale, do ABM campaigns, do very highly targeted campaigns. That's up to you. But you need to have that campaign experience. So you can do, I would not suggest doing anything for free, but you can try doing free campaigns for people because they'll provide the access to the sequencer. They'll provide you the domains and the inboxes and everything. They'll basically provide the whole infrastructure and tell you, hey, feel free to run campaigns for us, right? If there's someone who can do that for you, or you can even put a post on LinkedIn saying, hey, I'm open to running some campaigns for free or for $1, something like that. $1 a month retainer, you'll get some campaigns under your belt. And then the other thing about how much content to put out, what type of content to put out, and what's the duration of the content, what's the mindset behind each piece of content. See, try to make your content technical. Try to make it, so try to show that you have the technical knowledge, the business side, business acumen side knowledge of running a clay table, why the clay table runs, explain the logic behind the different columns you've added, explain the requirements of the client and how you translated that into a clay table, what comes before the clay table, what's the strategy of the campaign, all of these things. If it's an N8N workflow, you can do the same thing, right? And then explain, hey, before this was the problem and now I did XYZ. And now this is the solution. I've solved the problem by doing X. I've optimized for X, right? You give some sort of metric. And you don't need to have 15, 20-minute Loom videos. If you can explain it in 5 minutes, it's good. What I would say is you need to have volume. At least have 10, 20 videos or lots of posts like 2 times a week at least. Okay, and do some technical stuff. Speak about changes in the industries. There's so many topics to speak about. If you just ask Claude to do a deep search on GTM engineering and explain to Claude what GTM engineering is and tell it to build a list of 100 posts. I've done 360 posts. Like I got a list of 360 posts. Of course, all of those will not be usable, but a lot will be usable. You'll be able to get content for at least 2 or 3 months from that easily if you're posting 2 times a week, right? So these are things you can do. We are almost at 11:40. So I'd take another question from someone other than the guys who've already asked questions. Zainab Maman, I can ask you a question.
Yeah. So I am actually new to the space and I'm still building skills, but I've also been looking at the openings for GTM engineering roles and I don't see any entry level roles. So how can a fresher start? And I don't have any prior experience in sales.
So you can always reach out to agency owners directly, right? There are so many agency owners that openly post, right? There are so many people who would like to have an intern, who would like to have an entry level GTM engineer who they want to, teach and grow with the systems in their company. They want to have junior level people all the time. Everyone wants to have junior level people if they can afford it. And even if you're getting paid like in Indian rupees, I'm saying, let's say 50 to 70K a month or 1 lakh per month, which is very good if you get paid 1 lakh a month as a beginner. And I've seen people get paid that much and they're working in very good work environments in US-based companies. It is a possibility. You just need to reach out to these people. Be proactive. Don't be reactive. Don't wait for the job to come to you, right? Reach out to people. That's what GTM is about, right? You reach out to people. You don't wait for people to come to your client or to you. You reach out to them via cold email, LinkedIn, paid ads, whatever it takes, right? So do that. Reach out to people. Saksham, you have a question?
Yes, I had a couple of questions, but as we are running short of time, I just want to ask two things. A, I face difficulty only when technical things comes Python SQL. I don't want to involve myself in this. As you already mentioned, SDR doesn't need to code. I have achieved results using my campaigns. I'm only focusing on outbound campaigns. But when I want to reach out to clients directly, if I show them the videos, the posting that you mentioned, the results, I just want to charge monthly retainer. So how should I think in terms of making a business model out of it? I know how to get the results through using 2-3 tools. Help me with business model insight for this.
Okay, so see, based on what type of the amount of the retainer you want, the kind of case studies you have, just do a lookalike. Basically, try to find the people you've already been successful with, same types of people, right?
Yeah.
That's the best way to start an agency. If you already have good campaigns under your belt from your previous work, just try to find the same types of companies, same types of people, and reach out to them in the same way you got, or your client or your employer previously got those clients. If you know how they got those clients, otherwise try different things. Reach out to them personally, give them an offer they can't refuse. Tell them, hey, we'll get you 10 meetings in 60 days, or we continue to work until we can actually get those 10 meetings, or we do X, we do Y. There's so many ways you can pitch it in a way that they don't say, that they don't reject you. Because you're starting, right? You don't have a lot of leverage. You need clients. So you need to take a back foot, take some risk, and reach out to the best type of client that you think that there is a guarantee that you can get them results. Because of course you're taking risk not because you want to lose something in the risk, but rather you overcome the risk and gain a good case study, a good client, hopefully. Yeah,
can I just add on a simple point?
Yes. Last question. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I will for sure do this, but the results comes. So I cannot guarantee giving results to them. That is my pain point. I don't know if this is GTME standard, but I cannot guarantee if I will be able to generate 10 to 12 meetings. All I do is just increase the probability, though I have achieved results. But what do you think is the right way to approach this? I cannot guarantee meetings.
Correct. See, if you cannot guarantee meetings, you can guarantee outreach, right? So this is what a lot of new agencies are doing, and this is a very good question as well. A lot of people are moving away from guarantee-based offers, and they're moving more towards deterministic offers, where it's 100% sure that X is going to happen, and it's not meetings, it's not interested replies. It's we will reach out to X number of people within your ICP in 1 month, with copy that you approve, with the list that you approve, based on an onboarding form that you fill out, and we approve. So what you would do is you'd have a let's say someone wants to work with you. Before you even take a retainer, you tell them, hey, we have an onboarding form, just so I know that I can actually get you results. So basic onboarding form stuff. Because for the case studies, the kind of job titles that they want to reach out to, that they don't want to reach out to, stuff like that. Once they fill it out, you go to them with a proposition. Okay, see, this looks good. I think I can help you. We'll reach out to these many people. If you can build a list, for them, like a list of 100 people that are perfect fits for them in the perfect companies with the perfect job titles, 100 people. And it should be a list of varied job titles, right? Not just all of them are CEO, all of them are founder. Just because they mentioned CEO and founder, should be few CEOs, few founders, few CTOs, like depending on how many titles they give you. Should be a good mix of all of them. Bring it to them, tell them, see, these are the type of people we'll reach out to. This is our process. And we will reach out to these many people with your offer and with copy that you approve. And this always guarantees us results. But when they tell you, okay, how many meetings will you get? See, the offer is yours. The product or the service is yours. We are only doing an outreach. We are scaling your outreach, right? Okay. And another thing, try to reach out to companies and product-based companies, service-based companies who already have case studies. Because without case studies, cold outbound almost never, very rarely it ever works, unless there is extreme product market fit or service market fit. It's almost never going to work. So do this. Pitch that we will reach out to these exact type of people. Okay, X number of these exact type of people. Let's say 3,000 people. This is the retainer. 6,000 people. This is the retainer. Slightly less than double the retainer. 9,000 people. This is what it is, right? So do this. I've seen a lot of agencies move towards this model rather than pitching a certain number of interested replies or book meetings. Yeah. I hope that answers most of your guys' questions. And Neil, if you're still here and you have any closing words before we log off for today and enjoy our Sundays, and you enjoy our Sundays as well.
Yep. Yep. So first of all, very big thank you to you, Adnan Bhai. You held the session far better than we have held in the past. So kudos to you. You answered a lot of questions. And one thing that I like to tell everybody over here is that it was a bit difficult to convince Adnan Bhai. And the reason is he's been very successful. He doesn't get much time to do the talking because he's busy doing the doing. However, he gave us a lot of time, and I would want everybody to just thank him, write a thank you in the group, and we'd want to be very courteous about this thing. And here's the part of this entire conversation of what I make it is that Adnan Bhai, he is benefiting largely from his experience that precedes this entire fancy tool era. Uh, it's Clay or Cloud Code or whatever. If you would realize the way he's talking, the way he's presenting, the way he talked about negotiations, okay, you do not solve it with a tool, you offer yourself. You don't pitch a tool against another tool. All of these conversations, they come from experience, and that is one thing that we all need to understand as GTM engineers, that we are very much living in a bubble. Okay, this is the coolest thing, this is the newest thing, and this is the smartest thing to do. But sometimes simple things work out. Sometimes it's a business acumen that does the job. It's not the tool. And this was a mistake that I made myself a couple of years ago. I was very obsessed with the tools themselves and not with my own abilities. So if you have to take one takeaway from Adnan by that would be to be obsessed with yourself, to upskill yourself not only in these tools, but overall business. Okay, what's the contracts? What's the value of the work? Is this the simplest path to solve this problem or not? It is to think in systems. So if you understand what he was trying to tell across the answers, it is to be a systems thinker. It is to be mature with business. And he also told you, okay, do free work, do whatever, get experience, but do not be limited by your thinking itself. That has been a really good learning for us. And that way, once again, thank you for the structured learning that you gave us. And we'll definitely benefit from putting this video out there. And I'm also thinking like from this time onwards, let's build a library of these office hours. and this can be something really valuable. Otherwise, Adnan Bhai would chat something for this career counseling, but we have convinced him this time to make a library, and with Adnan Bhai, we'll start this process. That all of these will be a YouTube playlist, and anybody who joins the group, we will send this as a part of their onboarding email, and that should be a practice that we make forward. And with Adnan Bhai, I would just want you to again close this call with one general piece of advice. Basis the preparations that you made for this call, what you had in your mind, and what questions were put in front of you. So, what's the gap in between these two things? Like you're a seasoned operator, working day in, day out, and you came with a certain mindset. And I believe that would be something that might have surprised you. You might have spotted that, okay, these guys are thinking that direction. I want them to think in this direction. So, if you could just close the gap for all of us and yeah, make it a happy Sunday for us.
Sure, sure. So the overall gist of what I was thinking while actually building this presentation and thinking about what I'm going to say during the session was GTMEs are not people who subscribe to tools and run these tools, right? Tools will come, tools will go. Before it was just Instantly and Apollo, right? That everyone was making a lot of money with just Instantly and Apollo. And then we started having stuff like Smart Lead come in. And then you had ManyReach and so many other tools. And then all these tech stuff started entering the ecosystem like Clay and Bitscale and all these other orchestration systems. And then APIs, webhooks, all this started becoming quite popular, right? So number one, of course, don't hate the tech. Accept it, because that's what keeps you ahead of the curve. You don't want to not know anything and become an old person in the middle in the room, right? So the tool doesn't make you. You choose the tools based on your experience, because you should know what these tools do, and you should know which tool fits where and fixes what, right? Don't be dependent on the tools. The tools need to depend on you, right? So nobody should be able to replace you with Clay. Nobody should be able to replace you with a subscription. You're not a subscription, right? You're a person with expertise, and people should come to you for your skill set and your experience. Right? So for that, you need to do all the stuff that I said in the session. Document your wins, document your losses, strategize, make videos about, hey, we had this loss. Because Eric also, you must have seen Eric, he speaks about all the losses he's had. All by losses, I mean the bad campaigns and what he learned from them. All of this stuff. Just go through a lot of Eric's, actually is many of his initial videos, his first 20, 30, 40 videos. I've actually, I think, watched probably all of them. Maybe the new ones I haven't, but until last year I've watched everything. So go there, you'll get a lot of ideas for content, how to speak, what to speak, what gets people going. You can go to the comments and see people's reactions and understand, okay, this content does well, it resonates with this part of the GTM community or with companies looking for services like this. So yeah, don't be married to tools and keep learning. So sorry, I'm pulling this a little longer, but I need to say this, that I was looking at a lot of jobs while building this job portal thing, right? I was looking at, I've been reading like hundreds of job posts in the past 2 weeks while building this stuff. And I realized, wow, man, Claude Code is like a necessity. Everyone is asking for Claude Code as if it's, it's been there for years. It's been there for like 5 months, 6 months, that's it. But people are acting like it's been there for years. So I think I need to learn Claude Code like really well. I've used Claude, like the web interface, to build scrapers and stuff, and Ocean Scraper, all of this stuff. I've built it already, but I never used Claude Code in itself, right? I never used MCPs. So then I just did it. I just went and started learning, and in 3 days I built a job board. Now I'm building a candidate board. I've built an ROI calculator for my clients. I've built so many other things, and it's really fun. It's really fun. And if I ask my CLI, right? Actually, not CLI. It's the agentic interface in anti-gravity. I ask it, hey, can you find the email of Adnan Manna? It'll go to the Prospero MCP. It'll do all the stuff, and it'll say, hey, this is Adnan Manna. Do you want to spend 1 crate and find his email? I'll say yes, and then it'll find the email and do it for me automatically. And I can do that for 100 people as well, right? And that's really cool. Just seeing that happen is really cool. And I suggest all of you build and learn from the building, and not just watch courses and spend time watching courses. That's not the best way to go about it. Yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Thank you, Adnan Bhai, for giving us your really valuable time. And thank you, all of
Thank
you
you.
guys. It's a Sunday morning in India. It might be late somewhere else in this beautiful world. And all of you guys joined us from different parts of this world and made this a memorable experience. And to more learning and to more winning. And we hope we continue to meet over and over again and build something really beautiful. And let's also support each other, like Adnan Bhai supported us. We might not be able to return the favor in the equal magnitude, but yeah, let's always support each other. And thank you for joining. You're making this thing really awesome for me. Love you
All
guys.
right. All right.
Have a
Thank you,
good
Neil, for
evening.
having me. Thank you, all of you, for attending. See you. Have a good
Yep.
weekend, man. Bye.
Yep. Bye.